So the first player we're going to look at tonight is Nagy. He's a Marth player from Philadelphia. On the recent, with a very great image, I really like this, on the very recently released Philly PR with Slug being back at number 1. Yeah, we'll see actually a decent amount of these players as we go through his resume. But yeah, Nagy currently sits at 3rd on the Philadelphia PR. That is very recent, and still should be very recent by the time the VOD comes out. So as we do with everyone, let's go through all of Nagy's results and see if he has a chance to make the top 100. We start at the beginning of the year with wins over Panda and Zemo. I think both of those are good. Florida Panda is now Washington Panda, but he's still Panda. Crunch is on the group of people just right outside the ballot. There was people in the responses to practical tasks arguing for his potential inclusion on the ballot, but he just really didn't have that last couple of results or that push to be in the same league of these last edition of players, so he's not on there. And I think keeping that in mind and trusting the judgment of Wheat and practical tasks making him not on the ballot, I don't think that's worth highlighting. And then losing the Mike Hayes SFAT, no worries at all. You can't say though that he hasn't gotten the chance to do the Marth thing, and I guess he did pick up 2 Spaceys wins here, but he had the chance to do the Marth thing to just take out one of these high ranks Fox. I believe this is actually a game 5 set, which again is really cool for his trajectory moving forward, even if it is Marth Fox, but still. But as we continue on, we're going to see that this is not the consistent picture of how Nagy performs at locals, and I think Nagy's performances at locals, especially in recent months, is really concerning and may be the thing that keeps him from making the top 100. And it's not because of a pair, like an individual loss or something like that. It's just the consistent string of not beating other players who are not on the ballot kind of thing. But we'll get into that as we go down. Probably a great local performance that definitely carries everything back up, especially because we get 3 sets against Magi with Nagy winning the tournament, double eliminating her. So picking up those 2 wins, especially when they play 3 times in the tournament, coming out as the victor across 3 sets, incredible to have on your resume. We're starting to see a little bit more of that thing I hinted to earlier at another tournament in Louisiana, losing to the Skittles is the 2nd best placed Fox Sheik in Louisiana, and he did beat the 3rd best in Louisiana, J Salt. Not the worst thing in the world, beating a good player, and obviously the number 1 in Louisiana is Magi, who I think went on to win this tournament, if I remember correctly. Not that it matters for this discussion, but again, local losses that we don't want to see, especially being double eliminated. Yeah, it's the flip side of double eliminating Magi at a tournament's really cool, but being double eliminated by someone in that right outside the ballot range feels bad, man. Then we continue down to a very high placing at Super Smash Con. I feel like people weren't really talking about Nagy getting this far. The wins here aren't really something to write home about. Losing to Jake and Shake and Lucky, very respectable losses, and beating Curb, Sanae, who I always feel like I say the name wrong, the Fox from Japan, and Kaon. Okay, yeah, so apparently this long string of W's, who is the max you can put into there on Smash GG, is Ganondorf from Pittsburgh, and he's 3rd on the PR. Thank you, Kent Morlock, for helping with that. His tag is Ganondorf, but he plays Fox. And then we also have Kangas Connor, who is also a Pittsburgh player. Icy's 4th, right behind WWWWW. Wins over Kells and Chango. I believe Kells is on the list. We know Chango is going to be on the list, and most likely is going to just barely scrape by into the top 100 with that shootout win. So both these are still, both these I'd say are pretty good wins. And then we go down to Gucci Gang, which is a challenge event that I was actually at. I really wish I got to play and lose to Nagy at the event. That would have been so sick to have my own name on a resume review. But alas, Dawson is 4th, plays Puff, has dabbled with the Fox. I think he made a tweet recently about not wanting to play Fox anymore, or trying to not play Fox anymore, but I'm kind of glossing over the more, even though it's my local scene, I'm on the chem outside looking in. It seems like he's been putting a ton of work in the Melee. I mean, now that he's number 2 on the PR is really cool to see. Yeah, so him losing to, beating 4th on the PR and losing to 2nd and 9th. Dropping 1 or 2 sets at locals is not the worst thing, but the general trend we're going to continue to see, and I guess I can stop alluding to it and kind of pointing to it. We're going to skip over M-Mom for a second, losing to Slug and Chem. Again, the 2 players above him on the PR. No, it's the 2nd chem loss for the year. This is the 3rd chem loss for the year. And finishing off the year 2 this way by losing to, I don't want to hit that with a hard red highlight because they're still really good players, and then losing to Panos and Quit. Panos is a Falcon, 8th in Jersey. Maveri is a Fox Falcon from Philadelphia, also on this list. Yeah, I think that was it. And then also the one I kind of skipped over to, and we can go back to the loss to Dr. Lobster, who is, I believe we just saw 10th in New England. Nagy serves as a really good discussion point how locals affect stacked into a rank. Because we see both the good and bad side of locals in Nagy's resume. The good side we see with this double elimination of Magi, winning 2 out of 3 of the sets to win a tournament, which is really, really good to see, and shows that, like, if they would meet again, I would probably, I would put my money on Nagy over Magi, even though that feels weird at first take, but when they play 3 times, Nagy came out as the victor. But we're also seeing, in that same regard, if Nagy and Kem play, I'm probably going to bet on Kem, because the results we have here, especially the recent results we have here, and I don't know what happened if they happen to play at No Johns this weekend, but being 0-3 on Kem across the last couple of months, and losing to a bunch of other players, even lower than him on the Philadelphia PR, really, really not pretty to see. I think Magi wins are probably the same caliber as Zamu wins. It unfortunate is to say, as much as I am a Magi fan, Magi has not had the greatest year in the world. I was going to say that it's unfortunate that the people that Nagy beat are players who have been kind of playing less than desirable this year, but that's kind of like circular logic, because like the reason that we view them as not playing as well this year is because players like Zamu is that he got beat by a ton of players like Nagy and other players around there. If these two are close, that's not making me feel, because I'm not the most confident that Curb's gonna make it. I think Curb's gonna be cutting it very close. So the fact that I'm even like iffy about those being closer, who has a better resume, does not make me excited for my Philly boy. On par is like around the players who are on like the end of the resume level, but you don't have any of those like big wins. Like if you had a KGH win, I think we would have to lean less on the local results, or I'd be able to more definitively say, like, if you had that one big win, I think I'd more be able to definitively say that Nagy makes the top 100. But because we don't have that big win or that kind of thing to put us in the direction, be like, oh, Nagy is capable of taking that KGH. Like this is gonna feel probably really mean and really directed. If you would have won that game 5 against Mike Hayes, yeah, I was just about to say, you knew exactly where I was going. If you won this set against Mike Hayes, probably I would be more inclined to say that you're closer to making it for the top 100, and then also that would allow us to lean less on your local results. But because there's more question marks and less strong answers that we're getting from, we'd get a stronger answer from a Mike Hayes win than like a Panda, a Zamu, or 2 wins over Magi to local. Even though this is probably a bad example to use, because I think this is an incredible performance. That's really good for projecting. Well, if it was someone other than Magi who's been trending pretty downward in the second half of the year. It's just you don't have that one win, that one thing to be like, this is Nagy's peak. This is where Nagy can peak. Sunsei had consistency at locals as well as consistency at majors. Because Nagy has consistency at majors, but has really not great consistency at locals. It's going to be either really, really close or not going to make it, unfortunately. But yeah, so we can close that door for tonight.